Shalom, first and foremost, all praise and glory is unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. They belong to our apostles, the bishops, the elders of the great millstone, and greetings, salutations, blessings, much love unto you elect. We rush across with a reasonably quick video, and I just want to go into building a couple situations uh, that are leading to the MOT to the B. So, and it's becoming plain. That's why it's to us here at Great Millstone. It's kind of when we understand why some of you people can't get it, but it's so obvious. It's like, how can't you get it? But there are people that are starting to see it. That don't mean they're of the elect, and the hammer comes down on this system. That doesn't mean that they're not gonna still take it, but the elect won't take it. Okay, but so I'm gonna just hop right in and let this lady speak. So fair use, fair use, fair use. Not gonna put it up. Matter of fact, I will put it up just for the. Bear with me 1 second. Just be safe. All right. Like I said, fair use, fair use, fair use. So let her play it and paint the picture for you. Okay. So before I even play the video, just to preface it, it's pretty much gonna explain how they're crashing this system. Okay, the old financial system. All right, and it's for a reason, because what is crashing this system gonna do? Is gonna force people into the new system, the digital technocracy system. Okay, so and I got a couple other videos that go with it. So let's start with this.
Maybe real quick, because I just can't even believe we're doing this shit again. But I don't know if you remember back in the 80s when Reagan told America that welfare was broken because people were abusing it. He convinced people that particularly the welfare queens, poor black women supposedly living large off the government benefits, were taking advantage of the system, and that was where the waste, fraud, and abuse were. Maybe didn't use those words. It was racist. It was a made-up story, and people bought it. Middle-class Americans, many of them white, many of them struggling themselves, were told that they were the good ones, that they were the hardworking ones. So when Reagan slashed food stamps, public housing, Medicaid, people cheered. They were so happy he was getting rid of that waste, fraud, and abuse. They thought that the cuts were fixing things. But what really happened when they were distracted, blaming everybody else, Reagan dropped the top tax rate from 70% to 28%, gave huge breaks to corporations, and started dismantling unions. The middle class got completely screwed. Wages flatlined and have still never recovered.
Important. Okay, note here is this is what they started, but they started back in 2020. If you can put the pieces together. Why was the world shut down, but Walmart still open? But the major corporations still open. And it wasn't all of them. It was just certain of them. And then they continued to fearmonger over and over and over. Oh, stand 6 feet apart. We seen all of this. We just lived it, okay? Into forcing you into a certain, and that's what that was about. I hope people can understand. They put some pressure on you to control you and watched you funnel into the areas that they wanted you into. Okay? And now they're building a system to how should I say it? To completely control everybody. And then also in this system they'll be able to spit out the undesirables. Okay? Who's going to be in the undesirables? The Hebrew Israelites, as they call them, black Hebrew Israelites, okay, will be in the undesirables. But a lot of you gonna fall like a paper napkin, man. Y'all gonna fold, man. Nice and easy. Okay, or better yet, fold like a handkerchief, man, waving the white flag. All right. So as she continues on. And this is the squeeze, because with all these tariffs, as they've been telling us, okay, and there's a video, I don't know where I left it, but you can easily find this. Who's going to pay for the tariffs? because we're still importing goods, but they're not gonna go to the companies that are still bringing it in. It goes right over into to the consumer. So as they still bring over things that that there's heavy tariffs on, that the people still continue to purchase in hopes that they'll just bring their company over here and build up America and sell it back for cheap. Build their companies here in America. That's what the goal that they say the president's trying to do. But at the end of the day, people aren't stopping buying it now. And what's happening? They're feeling the squeeze on it. Okay? And because they're feeling the squeeze, they can't get as much. Everything's inflated, which is collapsing the system. And then people just can't make enough. And then everything is inflated. Housing prices inflated. Groceries inflated. Gasoline inflated. The basic things that you need to survive on. But then the jobs can't afford to pay you more. Okay? That's why he said, bring the jobs here and we'll get. But how long are we supposed to endure this? Right? This is why we understand here, going through the Bible and understanding prophecy, that this place has to collapse. Okay? This place has to collapse. All right? Because they're not, even though, and there's another, I'll wait and just do a video on that about the EBT, that you can't buy certain things. But at the end of the day, you got to understand that people are, you go to the grocery store and you notice people are becoming smarter shoppers. That name brand isn't that important as much, but to some people it is. It's vital. Okay? So as she's going through this, I'm going to let her keep going. But you got to understand the bigger system here that's being established, forcing you and funneling you into a certain direction. What is that? Into the poorhouse. Okay? That's the biggest thing here. Funneling everybody. Remember it was a big deal about a neighborhood restaurant up in New York or somewhere back east, where the whole community begged to keep this restaurant / bar open because they were feeding the neighborhood. It was literally feeding the neighborhood. And they said, look, we've adhered to everything, but we need to keep this open. They could not. They said, how come we can't keep this open, but Walmart's still open? Why is that? And I mean, they had a petition of, hundreds or even thousands of signatures, and it meant nothing. Okay, so it shows you that there's something bigger at play here, and she's showing you how they already ran this drill or ran this system back in the 80s. All right, and we're back at it. Back it up a tad bit.
Screwed. We just flatlined and have still never recovered. Credit card debt more than doubled, and for decades, while families had lived off of one income. Now, families could barely survive and had to move to two incomes. Pensions.
Now it's at like 3 incomes. We're at the point where you need 3 incomes. How is that even realistic? Where you pretty much need 3 incomes just to have a basic life, not even a normal life, a basic life. Okay? So all you American dreamers, especially you so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans and Israelite foreigners, man, you guys need to wake the hell up. This isn't, I mean, yeah, you're used to the struggle and you finally got a piece of the pie. Y'all living that Jefferson's life, man. Thinking you got something. You ain't got nothing, man. Because what just to continue the analogy of that Jefferson show, no matter what happened on that show and how high up, to that apartment George Jefferson and Weezy lived on, they still was in an apartment, for one. And for two, they didn't own a house like the spinoff that they came from. Archie owned a house, for one, and two, right? The other part was, they constantly reminded George and Weezy that they was niggas, man. They constantly reminded them of that. Okay? There was always some, and then when I grew up and was watching the show, I didn't watch it first aired, but when I went back and it was in syndication, What was right before, right after? It was Different Strokes, the Jeffersons, and Good Times, showing you the real struggle, and that's about where we're at. We're at Good Times. That struggle. Okay? So if you're up there trying to believe in the American dream and the system, you're gonna feel this squeeze, and you're just gonna hop right into to take the MOT to the beat, man. All right, let me let it keep going.
Disappeared, college tuition exploded, healthcare costs became a lifelong burden.
Yep.
All while the richest Americans hoarded wealth more than ever.
They're quick to give you medication, but they won't tell you how to truly diagnose what's wrong with you. What I mean by that, I would say I forgot the stats. There's stats, but just me going off the top of my head right now, I've seen stats and I've read different things, but a lot of the health issues that people face, particularly Jake faces, which are you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Israelite foreigners, face is through your stomach, the things you're putting in your mouth. Okay, the chemicals and the processed foods you put in your body, and the imbalance in that. Okay, Jake don't eat bitters, bitter foods, bitter vegetables. Okay, Jake really don't like that. The people that do, you can pretty much see that routinely do that and exercise and live and don't what they call it, binge on food. Okay, you can pretty much see they live a healthier lifestyle, and you can see it in their body. That doesn't mean that they won't go down and they didn't go line up and get the JAB. Okay, man, when you start looking at the bigger picture of how this thing is playing out, you see the simplicity of our people. Now the other people, who cares? But you look at the simplicity of our people, and it's frustrating. Jake could be in tip-top condition, but drink alcohol every day. Jake could be in tip-top condition, but fill their lungs with some form of smoke every day. But fill their bellies with some form of chemical every day. In whether it be sugar or high fructose corn syrup or whatever, every day, and then wonder why they have ailments. Okay, now did we all kind of grow up that way and like certain things? Yeah. But at some point, you're going to have to say, you know what? I got to cut this off. I got to start doing the other side of what's important here in life. I need to be here. I need to be able to be physical in the last years that I'm here. And that's for any age, because we're watching a large obesity rate happen to the youth. What chance do they really have? Well, it's the lifestyle. If you're pulling up to the drive-thru, how bad do you want it? Go, people don't realize, and I haven't seen this, but cooking is a form of exercise. Stirring that pot and standing in front of it with the heat and everything, and it's a family building moment, a character building moment, a bonding moment. Okay? Families that cook and that help in the kitchen and do all of that, and that sit around at the table and don't just spread out and, drop off a fast food bag or two, and then now everybody's going into the corners of the house to be in solitude so they can put the earbuds in and turn on the computer and keep gaming and man, okay? There's no way that you can appreciate this type of life that you're living. All right? And as people that believe, we have to live a different lifestyle. That's another video for something else also, but just bringing this to light. Okay?
Before, and people had cheered when he made the same cuts that they're making today. They used racism as stereotype to divide people.
Yep.
So they could quietly funnel wealth upward. Don't blame the rich.
And they're even divided. The divide over the past 2 or so years, but it's been like 8 years, but still, from the first time Trump came in, the divide is crazy work. Okay? And it's been before that, but I mean, it's been crazy to watch how this has been divided up. How they got, and I saw it with sports teams, how people were so fanatical about their sports teams coming into the Trump administration, the first Trump administration, the 45th, right? You can see how fanatical people were choosing their sides and beating up the people from the other side and down talking and trash talking to people from the other side because they had a difference of view, a difference of support. Well, now they, instead of Raiders versus Niners, now it's Democrat versus Republican. Now it's black versus white. Now it's rich versus poor. This is how you systematically break down a system. They tell you that they don't tell you about how the Democrats were the real racist group, and that the Republicans the Republicans broke up slavery. They don't tell you that, that they freed the slaves, but they don't tell you that the slaves were never truly freed, that they went from private ownership to corporate ownership. The same. So I mean, the scriptures are point on. The two horns as a lamb and spake as a dragon from Revelation the 13th chapter is where all this is going. This system that's being set up. Okay, matter of fact, let me get a precept. I've been letting her speak. Let me get this wise fresh. Bear with me. All right, this is Sirach, Apocrypha, chapter 12, verse 16. It says, "The enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips." Okay, they point out the highlights, they point out the good things and the good outcomes, but they don't tell you who can actually be within that, who can actually end up profiting off of that system, right? And that's what she's breaking down. This is going to be good. Oh, the welfare queens, you single black parents, they didn't tell you that they dismantled you from both sides of belief, okay? Took you away from your God, took you away from your man and the family head, and that's partly that's how they took you away from your God and told you don't need those children. They're burdening the system by you having children. Oh, and that man can't be in the house to discipline those children. And look where we're at. 50, 60 years later. Okay? 60 years later, look where we're at and what we got with these kids out here. And another video I want to get into, not now. It's about niggas, man. And it's bad when the troll Charleston White, it seems like one of the most wise men towards our people. It's bad when it's looking like that. Anyway, it says, "An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagined how to throw thee into a pit." Look that word up. Okay, the Edom online. Pit, the noun, which we know nouns are person, places, or things. Okay, this is a place, even though it's symbolic, right? It says natural or man-made depression in the ground, water hole, well, grave. And these are also spiritual and symbolic. Okay. Potopul, an early borrowing from Latin putius, well, pit, shaft. Okay. The Latin word is perhaps from pi root paul, to cut, strike, stamp, but there are phonic and sense objections. Okay. The ride of it doesn't make it relatable. Okay. Long word. Okay, it says meaning abode of evil spirits, hell. Okay, and this is a condition we're in. We're in a condition of hell. Why? Because we're in the slave position, if you will. Okay, heaven is having rulership, where you point people do things. Being in the pit or being in hell, okay, as the condition of hell, more than the place, which we got videos on that. It's more of a sense of just so you know, Jonah was in hell, okay. If you can, anyway, it says but that's what our people are in. We're in a sense of hell, and our people have been okay with being in this pit, in this hell. And they've learned it, and then, when you say, hey, this is how you get out of this hell, by getting into this Bible and praying and doing all these things that it takes to appease the Father before the great and mighty day come, where judgment happens, right? Um, and what do they think? Oh, this is not what I want. They want to stay in this pit. They're so accustomed to being in this hell or this pit, they don't want to get out. But here's what you don't realize: they're digging this pit so very deep that there won't be getting any out. That you can't get out. You can't climb out. You can't make it up. I watched what's this guy's name? Dang it, what's that? I can't think of the freaking white dude that's always arguing with college students. Maybe somebody could leave it in the comments. I know his name, and I can see his face right now. But he said, it's been 150 years. How come you can't, every other immigrants have climbed themselves out, but they're not under the curses, for one, which the curses are real, as well as they don't have the backing. Somebody, if you allow think about this, if you allow your slaves to now become bosses, who's going to be the slave? You. If you as the slave master allow the slaves to become in higher positions, who's going to do the grunt work? Who's going to be at the very bottom? Somebody's got to be at the very bottom. For you to live, and this is where you weaklings, especially you Christians, can't get. For somebody to be in rulership, to be in heaven as a place of a position of rulership, somebody has to be on the bottom. For the kingdom of heaven to exist, there's going to have to be subjects or slaves. Period, point blank. Now, here's the problem. You take what the so-called white man did to the Negro Latinos and Native Americans, and you think that's how we're going to rule the kingdom of heaven. No, we're going to rule it far better than that, the right way. We're going to rule it in righteousness, where the slaves are going to be happy. Okay, but that's another lesson as well. But I'm tapping you into all of these thoughts, connecting all these different things, because they're trying to do it from the left-hand side to put you back in that chattel slavery. It's a digital chattel slavery, though, where you can't worship your God. None of that. Okay, this is all part of that pit. Which the new part of this pit is the image of the beast. Okay. Anyway, it says, meaning very small depression or dent into the surface of an object. It's from early circa 1500. Let me see. Pit of the stomach. Okay, that's good enough. Okay. I also real quick looked up the word system. Okay. And this system is set up to keep you in a pit state, to keep you from ever overcoming. It made me think of the Dave Chappelle show joke. Can black people overcome? No. Ding, that is correct. Anyway, definition 3 is pretty good. It says, don't try bucking the system, right? It says, the prevailing political or social order, especially when regarded as oppressive and transient. Shit, let's look it up. Struggling on that word. Unwilling to or refusing to change one's views or to agree about something. And that's what I just uncompromising, unflexible. And that's the thing. The people in rulership understand they can't completely rule if they don't have you in a subjugated state. Okay? Let's go back. Here, the powers that be. Bureaucracy. And bureaucracy sounds good, but it's going to become a technocracy, the establishment. Let's go all the way back to our video. Let's go back to this, Sirach 12:16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagined how to throw thee into a pit. Okay, into that system. Okay, into that working, into that hell. All right. He will weep with his eyes, and if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Okay, but the main part is to keep you into that system, and that system sends you to the grave, man. Keeps you in hell. Okay?
Blame the rich, blame the poor, and they're doing it again, telling you that Medicaid cuts are just about fraud, and that the lazy are the only ones who will be impacted. And you're
like I went to the video on it about with the health system. Okay? When you go into the curses, man, they keep you, because this man knows the Bible. Okay, they say the devil knows the Bible too. Well, this man knows the Bible as well. You got to go through his church system. So he's reading the book. It's you that ain't reading the book. He ain't leading you to read the book because you may find something. That's why we have been given the Holy Spirit to get into the book and begin to read it. And even when you read it, you got to keep his ideals on it because he's completely got your spirit. That's why we're seeing so much pushback about you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans being the ruling people, the real children of Israel. Okay? And so, because he's not telling you, hey, you need this, you need to change your diet, and like I said, this EBT thing is going to be good, but they say you can't even get the muffins, you don't need the muffins. Okay? All I can only buy is meat and vegetables. That's all Jake needs to be eating anyway. And lesser on the meat. Sparingly on the meat. Lots of fruit, vegetables is what our people actually need. Okay, and selective on the type of. We have dietary laws. Okay, anyway.
I did it again. And we still haven't recovered from the last time. So, I can't even imagine what's going to happen this time.
0606. 2016, Microsoft partnered with the Gavi Vaccine Alliance, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, WHO, UNICEF, World Bank, WF, and the UN to start the global initiative ID 2020. The goal? To create digital ID for everyone, with the plans to link biometric data to verify identity, a global database to monitor all humans. Think of the implications with CBDCs, vaccine pass.
CBDC is central bank digital currency. Okay, you're already trading your time for digital money, or how you get your wages. You're not handling cash the same way. Okay, they have a credit system where you need credit to even get anything established in this country. If you just live straight cash, I got cash. Cash ain't the same thing no more. It don't hold the same weight and power. Okay, so you have to have credit cards, debit cards, for you that still like to use the cash type system. You still are going through it on a debit card. Okay, and so as you look at how all of this is building up and setting you up, like the lady said, credit card, debt, and so on and so forth is happening. You see them setting this up where AI, which is unmerciful because it's programmed to be such, it's not gonna. You should be able to see the technological system that's being set up. Okay, and he's explaining it.
Or social credit-like systems, but how would they monitor every person? This is where Microsoft's patent comes into play. WO-2020-060606. Patent for a system where human body activates brainwaves, body heat, movement, etc., is used to mine cryptocurrency. It uses body activity as proof of work instead of traditional mining that.
And there was a Black Mirror episode, if you go to it, 15 Million Merits, okay, and you can see how that was true. They were riding the bike, keeping the lights on in the place, and you won't even ask, why that was the lifestyle and how they live. But when you see the analogy of what they're talking about, it's not different than what we see now. And I think we can even it's possible to even have a setup like it in actual reality when you see that episode. Okay, clearly underground or some sort, right?
Requires massive computer power. The system would reward users with cryptocurrency when their body data meets certain conditions. If you tie ID 2020 and 0606.
And what do you mean? Because they're talking about carbon emissions. When you're not eating, because cows create gas and it's messing up the ozone layer. So the carbon is going up. Okay, that's going up, and then you got to eat plant-based foods now, and then which is GMO, right? Now you got to have roach milk, and you got to have all these other things that when you start Googling and watching these videos instead of just scroll, start slowing down and looking at some of them that'll begin to watch your, come up on your feed and start to understand the bigger picture that you're being programmed to what's the word? To gradually move towards. Okay? So this is all showing you how the system is being implemented right before your face, and a lot of you scroll past just like playing, video games back in the day, where you should read the booklet before you even turn the game system on. Most people are just cut it on and never throw the book out with the box. Okay, just hop on the game and I'll figure it out. I'll know how to play this game just by pressing a bunch of buttons. And if it don't work out, then I know not to press that button. Okay, I'll learn on the fly. And because you don't know the rules of the game and how the game is objected to be played, created to be played that way, you lose. Okay? And this is a system set against you. Well, Jake ain't supposed to be able to read anyway. Okay? So you got to look at how all this is coming down and how all this is happening. And if our people are prepared, our people are not prepared by any stretch of the imagination. The ones that are prepared are in fear and reverence of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Okay?
6 together. The combination could be used to track and control access to money, services, and even movement. Become a social credit system
where you can't have access to certain places. As they say, you if you have the C-hip in your hand, and then you can go into was it 3 Square? Well, not 3 Square. I can't think of the name of the company up in Minnesota. Where you can now access the break room and get snacks and all of this stuff, right? But what if you don't have it? Then you can't even go in that door. Oh, and that 15 million merits was a cold one, man. Everything costs. They couldn't even skip videos. Like we get annoyed by watching these ads and YouTube videos. They couldn't even skip past that. They had to watch it. It cost them to get past it. You had to watch. Okay? There's no skip button. You have to pay to get past it in that show. Same difference here. You don't have access to certain things. Okay, so a lot of this is pretty much how this is going down. Okay, it's being set up right in front of you. And as it looks like a world of convenience and you will own nothing and be happy, not if you come from a mental state, which this Generation Z, our children, hey, they've been raised, if you will, on the system. They've been taught within the system. The educational system has created them to just be obedient workers. Okay, no free thought, none of that. Okay, where they just know how to compute, to follow the program. Okay, and they seem like they have a lot of technological success and they're advanced in that. But when it comes to social and interpersonal skills, they just don't have it. And you wonder why. Critical thinking, they just don't have. They just fall back to the routine of the protocols. All right?
Access to cryptocurrency depends on behavior and compliance. Add in a layer of AI and automation, AI would determine who gets rewarded and who doesn't, based on your body's responses. Imagine being forced to comply to something and produce a certain brainwave condition before being able to buy or sell. Some may say,
ooh, right? Image of the beast.
You can't do that. That's crazy. The only happens
like I told you, the lady's video leads you into this system, okay? By your only sense of power was with money. Now if they're taking the money away, why? Because before you get it, some of it comes right all out your bank before it ever hit, out your account before it ever hits your account, okay? And then the rest of it already has a destination. And then any little change or whatever else you got going on, whatever else leftover money you may have, you're trying to find a way to be happy with that, and it's really just depressing. All right?
Movies. You're just trying to fear porn us. The patent number is literally 060606. I don't know what else to tell you. Have you heard of Microsoft's global patent number 060606?
And you can Google that for yourself. We've been on this since it came out, which I believe was like 2020, somewhere around that time. We saw him roll that out. All right? We were like, what does that have? When you get into it, man, we've done many videos, and all of those videos, or a lot of those pages and videos where a lot of that was done at, are wiped out. A lot of brothers' pages got wiped out and all the edification on there. Okay, brothers, that's why we have a lot of codes, C-HIP and so on and so forth. Okay, we can only say certain things. We know one day when you say Revelation 13 is probably gonna delete the video if they find it anywhere in the page. Can't talk about it. So this is why it's important that you get all of this situation built up in your spirit and as part of your foundation. Now I got one more video. All right, I'm gonna play this one to add into this, and I have one more with your president.
Here we go again, guys. Here we go again with the food stamp cut thing. It looks to be true this time. I guess they are going to be cutting food stamps. I've seen one story where a guy was getting $3,700 a month. I'm sorry, $3,500 a month for 9 kids that he actually takes care of. He takes care of 9 children that's actually his biological kids, because I think the mom passed away years ago. So he's left to take care of 9 children. Having 9 children and being a single parent, it's hard to get a job. Even if you get a job, it's not going to make any difference. The job is not going to cut it. So the guy is in a position to where getting food stamps is probably a smart decision for him to do. Why not take advantage of the system? People have been doing it for years, hundreds of years, guys. They're cutting his food stamps from $3,500 a month, guys, all the way down to $350 a month. My thing is this right here. You know, cutting food stamps is not going to do nothing but hurt the American people. Even while getting food stamps and getting government assistance, people are still living in poverty, man. Even with the extra help, the people who's doing the right thing with their food stamps, not selling their foods.
Now, let's also not forget, they'll cut the amount that you get and hope, saying get a job and all these other things, right? But the prices of food still cost. So what you were buying for $200 before is now $350. The price is different. $200 is now $250, $300 or more. This is how this works. Okay?
To people, not fencing them off to other people, not putting groceries in other people, because there are people out there who get like $1,000 a month in food stamps, and they will fill their refrigerator up and then go fill their relative's refrigerator up, just because. So, but there are some people out there who's doing the right thing when it comes to food stamps and government assistance. But we know you have 2 types of people.
Also, like I said, which I'm trying to think what that. I'll just try to do a video on it once I find it. But cutting candy, man, cutting all that junk food is huge. It's huge. Okay? You go into the grocery store and you see Top Ramen and it probably ain't gonna be in Top Ramen because it's poison, but see all the Hot Pockets and all that other sugary foods, man, that the people really shouldn't be purchasing. But they won't let you get hot food. But then they don't have home economics where teaching people how to cook or manage a kitchen anymore. Okay? This is funny how all this happens this way. Alright?
One type of person is doing the right thing, the other type of person is doing the wrong thing. But it seemed like that the government, the United States government, should be trying to find ways to cut other things, like the way that we spend money in other countries, trillions of dollars a year on their goods instead of making those goods right here in the U.S. Why sit here and hurt the American people who don't deserve it? People who work every day, people who bust their butt, pay their taxes.
Well, you see, this guy's in the system. Tell me this guy's in the system that he's got the American mentality without telling me. Look at his face. Look at his face. Okay? Looks Babylonian to me. Okay? Looks Greek to me. Where's your beard at, bro? See, when you start living a different lifestyle, you can tell. He's upset. You start living. Hey, man, he's worried about hardworking American citizens and hey, man, forget about that. This is the Heavenly Father's agenda, and he has to collapse this place. The first place this is going to collapse this place is in the minds and the morale of the people. Okay? This is the divide, as the lady was speaking of. So you hoping and loving everybody and going to church with white people and everybody and black people and Asians. And hey, man, them days are gonna be over at some point. Okay, the people that don't like you are gonna prove they don't like you, and they're different races of people. Okay.
Been doing it for years, and they started having children and just couldn't work anymore. Daycare alone is crazy.
Yep.
You imagine a daycare for what, one child? What's that like? I'm just gonna say hypothetically, $150 a week. I'm not saying that's what it is. It could be more, it could be less. But what if daycare for one child is $150 a week? So if you have 2 children, that's $300 a week. If you have 3 children, I think that's what, $450 a week, guys. Some people don't even bring $450 a week home.
Which goes back to stop having children. Okay? That's their sentiment. Stop having children. You know, the world is overpopulated now. This is the part of it. Okay, to maintain, what did it say? To maintain, in the Georgia Guidestone, it said to maintain the 8 billion people in the world down to 500 million. Depopulation. Okay? You can see it all happening right before your eyes. Hey, and we know their numbers are low. Edom's numbers are low. They ain't got it. They women coming over to Jake, you know, Negroes and Latinos and natives, you know, to try to get they basic sexual needs, man. Okay?
I'm sorry, some people don't even bring $450 home a week from their paychecks.
I don't know if it was China, somewhere like that. It's like some people are paying to get you to go and impregnate their women. Okay? Trying to keep their population going in certain countries. Sending people over to Africa, I mean, it's all over. For all the low birth rate number. Why are they going to need soldiers? They're going to, you know. This is crazy how you look at it, but at the end of the day, this is all coming into one direction, was leading to the MOT to the B, and the collapse of the world as we know it, where Yahweh Shai has to step in with the power of Yahweh, the Father, to reestablish dominance and righteousness on the earth, and take those other rulers, you know, powers, kings, and put them by the wayside.
And even if they do, guys, they got to rob Peter to pay Paul, because that money is already spent before they get it. So
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out, when it comes to this big, beautiful bill that's been signed, how is cutting food stamps going to benefit the American people? It seemed to me like cutting food stamps and government funding for these people is going to cause crime to go to an all-time
Yep.
high. We see a census
Need a martial law and a police state. This is what they want. We're watching it, as the brother said, the soft rollout of martial law right now with ICE. Okay?
year of this city crime rate is down. This city rate crime.
Plus, cutting food stamps does what? If you look at America, the obesity rate is out of control. You're going to try to bring these people that are being raised on McDonald's and Burger King and whatever else, and Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or whatever they drink, you know, Starbucks, these are the people that you're going to force into your military to defend your country? Video games and binge watching Netflix or whatever else they're doing, and video gaming, and this is what you're gonna defend the country with? Really? You need AI to fight your wars now.
Rate is down. This city crime rate is down. Robberies are down. Homicides are down. Theft is down. Vandalism is down. Auto theft is down. All you finna do is be hiring more police officers when these cuts take effect. Now, we did see that the government assistance with the big beautiful bill wasn't going to take effect until the next term for the next president, because that will make the next president look bad. We know this, but it sounds to me like some of those food stamp cuts are actually already taking effect right now to this day, guys. So it's, my opinion is really sad, man. I just don't understand where it's going to save money at. How is cutting food stamps going to benefit the American people who depend on those food stamps. I know they're saying that those people that's getting food stamps need to go to work and get a job. But if you go to work and get a job, don't they cut your food stamps anyway, guys? If you getting $500.
That's enough of that. Let's get what the president's talking about. Okay, fair use, fair use, fair use. This is what you see right here now. Okay. Go out to the brother that clipped this. Salakia for not getting permission from you, but hey, you know, well, when this is edifying to add this into it. And what is this? This is showing you all the pieces of how they're collapsing the system, controlling you within the system. Okay, and now look what he says.
We will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. We will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
I was in Shanghai, and you're not.
Scripture, bear with me. Okay, Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Rejoice ye heavens, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. On air. Who the hell lives in the air, right? On sea, on earth, right? Land, sea, air, everything, right? For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. Okay? And this is what he's doing. This is what he's doing with this system. Okay? And look, verse 13. When the dragon, who's the dragon? Okay, it's this last beast, which is the rebirth of the Roman Empire. Okay? When you go to this chapter here, and it talks about it up top. Okay, that beast, even going back to Daniel, that fourth beast. But when you bring it down to verse 11, it says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Both sides of the political system are against you. Okay, pure point blank. Both sides are against you. This their draconian laws is what's setting you up for that. Okay. Isaiah 10:1. Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees. They're setting up all these laws. Okay, unrighteous laws. Because if you're getting rid of the Hispanics and the immigrants that are here, especially the Hispanics and the natives, what are you going to do with those people? What are you going to do with the Negro slaves? What are you going to do with these people that came over as their ADOS, ancestors of descendants of slaves? What are you going to do? We didn't ask to come over here. Okay, and then our natives and Hispanics, we were here already. Where are you going? Where are you going to push us back to? Push us off to? Because you conquered this land. You don't think the Most High is got something to do? Going to have something to say about those actions? Okay, that's fine. He's far from your thoughts as well. It says, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed, whether it's cutting food stamps, whether it's deporting people, okay, to turn aside the needy from judgment, because what do the needy need? They need to be given proper balance. And see, the problem is our people think that a better job is always going to solve everything, that having a house and this and that and money is going to solve things. That's not what's going to solve things. They may even see the system as what's going to solve things. No. Only your belief and obedience to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to be what rescues you from this situation. Okay? And to take away the right from the poor of my people, the basics, they're saying water is not a human right. And they're about to say food is not a human right. Okay, they're cutting it. Okay? Among other things, freedom of speech. All this is getting cut. Right under your nose. Right in front of your face, I should say. That widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. Okay? This is how they treat us in this system. Now let's jump over to a Psalm real quick and I'll go back. Psalm 64:2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who wet their tongue, because there's secret counsels that have set this plan up and set it in motion. That's why it's on an Illuminati board game. How could they have a board game that when you play this out, it has all the conspiracies on it. Okay? Anyway, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. They do this with words, with legislation. Okay? That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. And I had a video posted about how the system, how retired police chief talking about they really go after blacks because they don't have any power in the system. They can't call up their politicians. They don't know how to reach out to their politicians and say, hey, why is this happening? Why is that happening? And then have pull after that. When, like I said, you gotta keep a certain people on the bottom. You need the prison industrial complex to keep parts of the economy moving and to keep the people out of jail. You need the prison industrial complex. Again. You need the poor to be on the bottom, to go to work and run the fast food places and run the service industries. Okay? You need this to run your grocery stores, to change your tires, to do. You need those entities to be there. Okay? As for now, anyway. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They're not trying to solve what you need. Giving you a good job to where now your focus is on work and then you can go and purchase. The system ain't being set up for that, to where everybody can go and work and now crime is down. It's going to look like that's going to solve things, because it will for a certain situation. But then we're going to watch how polluted, we saw in 2020 when everybody was at home, how polluted the minds of the people became. What people began to do and watch, man, the shows that came out, all kinds of things, man. Okay? All kinds of things. Like things that it's crazy to even think about how bored people got just because they were at home and you know, and had nowhere to go, nothing to do, just to let their minds run free. Okay? They encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune of laying snares, traps, privately. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought and every one of them, the heart is deep. This is how they set it up. This is how they go. They have gotten us on every side. Okay? This is how they set it up. Okay? Most High is going to have to be the one that rescues us out of this, through his only begotten Son and the angels. Okay? And your prayers and your works and your belief and your faith. All right? I'm going to play the video.
I was in Shanghai, and you're not allowed to jaywalk in China. They have facial recognition cameras in every sidewalk, and what they do is if you...
Also, I forget, Klaus Schwab, I believe it was, said China's the model for the world, or for America or the world or something like that. Right?
Jaywalk when the light is red, it'll scan your face and it'll deduct money automatically from your bank account, and they'll display you on a big LED.
CBDC. Okay, and Palantir setting this up, bringing all the different formats into one database where they can access it all on one system.
Word calling you a criminal, all done automatically, remotely. I filmed the video about it because it was absolutely insane. It gets so crazy that in certain places of Shanghai, you're only allowed to walk in one direction. If you walk in the opposite direction, they scan your face, deduct money from your bank account, and if you don't have money in your bank account, social credit score gets removed.
Hey, welcome to China. Oh no, it's Miami Beach, Florida here. Yeah, they got these cameras every 30 meters now. They got all the way up over there. We're in front of Fontainebleau right now.
Let's see if we can go past a little bit of this guy. This guy might be the end of it, yeah.
But they're spying on every South Beach and so on. Just ready for the new world order social credit system. Yeah, You're gonna be spied, but they're gonna say it's for immigrants and illegals, immigrants, but they're spying on everyone. Wake up, people. So are you awake or sleeping in the Matrix? See you on the other side.
Right, so This is what's going on, man. Okay, this is what's going on. This is in real time. Okay, we've been warning you about this, that you have to get, serious about your salvation in Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. And I don't mean that in a Christian way. I mean like fasting, praying, studying, reading the Holy Bible in the proper, praying in the proper names. JC ain't gonna cut it no more for you. Yahweh and all, and Yeshua, and that ain't cutting it no more. You got to get it really in there. You got to study. Hey, because there'll be a famine of the word. They're going to cut it off the internet, and we're not going to be on the streets no more. When all this is implemented, you think our faces aren't going to show up? Oh, we got these guys gathering together. Let's go get them. Oh, look, all whatever, however many faces, 4, 5, 9 faces, or whatever, are on our list. Let's go pick them up. Okay? And it's going to hop out a Tesla robot out of a Tesla truck. A Cybertruck gonna pop up on you and take you away. Okay, this is what they're setting up. Okay, and that's when that they done been cut off your RFID cards. Okay, your bank cards and so on and so forth. Right before they implement. This is all happening, man. Then they force you into the system. Okay, let's go to Revelation. We'll close on that. Okay, so as it tells you about Revelation, the 13th chapter, okay, it's going into World War I and World War II, and the beast, which is the ancient Roman Empire, rebirthed into this NATO EU system, okay, that they're building up, and these same countries ran by the Edomites are back in power, but they're trying to find a way to assume their birthright back, to get the forever power seat back with the Edomites. Okay, starting with the small hats over there, Amalek. Okay, so verse 15 says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast through their science and technology. And the image of the beast, what's the image of the beast? That way of life, that system, that social credit system, CBDC, the carbon, cutting certain cuts, food shortages, tariffs, high inflation, collapsing the dollar. All of this is forcing you into this image, this way of life, this system, this thought. Okay, that you'll be worshiping the beast by the way you live. And the other guy in the second video was talking about, hey, when you're into that system, this is how they do it. Then the third Jake that was talking to the man, the smooth-faced man, right? He was saying, well, how is this going to help the people? Well, it's forcing you into this system. This system is not good. He doesn't want to do away with the system altogether. He just wants to continue pacifying our people and don't want to go through the hard parts to get out of the rulership of these people. Reminds me of the movie Birth of a Nation with the Nat Turner movie, okay, by Nate Parker. Excellent movie. Nobody wants to stand up and fight, and symbolically this is a spiritual fight, but as it says in Ephesians the 6th chapter, okay, stand up and fight against the system so you can be free. Like this house slave came over, what we gonna do now? You done killed us all. The light-skinned, house Negro, right? What you gonna do now? He's all nervous and scared. Well, you gotta have those type of people around. Okay? You're gonna have those type of people around that will snitch you out to keep the system alive. There was a lot of them, and look, they keep it going. You YNs and YBs, y'all keep it going. Okay? Anyway, it says that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. If you don't get into the system, you're going to be squeezed out of it to death. And he calleth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, charagma, implant basically, right? Which is charagma, charax, graphos. You put those three together, you understand the system and what it's really about. And that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Okay? And the guy broke it down in the first video. The second video. Okay? So you put all these together, you can see this system being set up, built, ready to destroy people. Okay, our people, because it destroys us spiritually. It keeps us in an Edomite ruled mentality versus the kingdom-minded, righteous mentality of the Heavenly Father. So I'll try to come back and do the other videos on name. Lord willing is edifying, giving all praise and glories unto Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Bashim to the next one. Shalom.